Laura, the Dallas Cowboys officially have used their franchise tag on George Pickens. The two sides are not close to an agreement. This is not expected to be a simple negotiation.
George is not going to accept a dollar less, I wouldn't think, than top-notch money.
Make no mistake about it, we have long-term plans in mind for Pickens.
We've made a decision to have George play under the franchise tag. There won't be negotiations on a long-term deal.
George Pickens has, as Schefter told us he would, signed his franchise tag, so
all of this seems to avoid drama. Yeah, famous last words.
There's your rundown of the offseason news on George Pickens. Welcome into NFL Live, where we have Adam Schefter here to fill us in with more. Adam, what else can you tell us about Pickens?
Dan, this is a percolating situation that bears watching throughout the offseason. George Pickens wants a long-term deal that the Dallas Cowboys already have said that they're not going to give him this offseason. And in light of the fact that he won't get the long-term deal that he wants, it's fair to wonder if he could potentially seek a trade. However, the Cowboys also have said they're not interested in dealing George Pickens. So we have a team that is unwilling to pay him, unwilling to trade him, a player who's not happy. But he has at least signed the franchise tender for now, which obligates him to be at training camp contractually. However, there is no end in sight right now to the standoff that exists between these two sides, though Pickens is under contract now.
What do you know? An offseason contract drama between the Cowboys and one of their star players. When have we ever seen this before? I'm Dan Graziano, joined today on NFL Live by Mina Kimes, Adam Schefter, as you just heard, and Andrew Hawkins. So let's start there with George Pickens, as he is the news of the day. He's coming off a career-best season across the board. Top 10 in the NFL last year in catches, yards, and touchdowns, all of which were career highs. And only Puka Nacua and Super Bowl MVP Jackson Smith-Njigba had more receiving yards. Cowboys, as you heard, have said they don't plan to work on a long-term extension this offseason. They're already paying CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year. So, Hawk, what do you make of Pickens' decision to sign the tag?
Yeah, it was the right move for Pickens. And I think for him, it gives him a security blanket of, look, worst case, you're playing on a franchise tag that pays you more than 3 times the amount of money that you've made in your career. This is not a former first-round pick, right? So in that situation, it's a great situation to be in, $27 million. The issue is that he's put up numbers that can justify him being a solidified number 1 receiver and being paid as such. But if he goes into this season, plays on the franchise tag, and has a repeat year of last year, and I don't mean on the field, I mean off the field, he will sign the biggest contract for a wide receiver in NFL history, and he will have earned it and answered a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's interesting that there hasn't been more smoke around a potential trade for Pickens, given what he did last year on the field, which makes me think that, Andrew, you're right. It is in his interest to do it again, because if he does, he will be, I think, rewarded quite handsomely. And as far as Dallas goes, last year they had a top 5 offense in football, 5th in EPA per play, 5th in success rate. Stat that I thought was really telling, they faced more too high coverage than any team in the entire NFL. Teams desperately feared the combination of Pickens and Lamb, and then that would open things up underneath for the run game. So to me, it makes sense that you would try to keep him, even if it's not on a long-term deal, with the risk of losing him next year, because you know how good this offense is with him. And the bet is that they've made enough improvement on defense so that they can be a playoff team this season. But the offense, if it's anything like last year, should once again be a top unit in the NFL.
What's interesting about this whole situation is if we go back to last year when Pittsburgh was trading George Pickens, there wasn't a lot of interest in him across the league. And all the Steelers could get back for one of the most talented wide receivers in the league was a 3rd-round pick. Fast forward to this year, how often do we see a team come out in April and say, we are not signing our franchise player to a long-term deal? It's a very strange and unusual statement to make this early in the offseason. On the other hand, the talent of George Pickens is so rare and so undeniable that what he brings to that offense cannot be matched. So it's a strange situation that the two sides find themselves in. And Hawk, you said George Pickens should be happy about making $27.3, but I would say there are other receivers now making $40 million that he's looking at. And he doesn't have the security of a long-term deal where if he got a long-term deal, he would be double, triple the amount of money that he's scheduled to make this year, and he feels like he's earned it. So again, I don't know that there's a solution in sight. I don't know that George Pickens is going to be particularly pleased at playing this season under the franchise tag, as much as it is in his best interest to go out there, to ball out, have a great year, become a free agent when he could crush it on the free agent market a year from now.
Yeah, Cowboys basically telling Pickens, hey, great year, let's see you do it again, and then we'll talk again next year. They don't seem like they plan on trading him. Of their 7 picks in this year's draft, 5 were on defense, and the only pass catcher they took was in the 7th round. Let's get to some other top stories around the league, starting with some defensive help for Baltimore. Adam, what do you got?
How about Calais Campbell at the age of 39, returning to Baltimore on a 1-year contract? Calais Campbell from the draft class of 2008, the same draft class that produced one Andrew Hawkins as an undrafted free agent, now winds up back in Baltimore, where he played from 2020 to 2022. The Ravens tried to trade for him a couple of years ago, couldn't get him from the Miami Dolphins, now have landed Campbell on a 1-year free agent deal back to Baltimore. Meanwhile, Darius Slayton is dealing with a core muscle injury that required surgery that has knocked him out until at least training camp. Let's keep in mind, the Giants already are missing their standout wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, coming off a torn ACL. So they're down 2 wide receivers, which helps explain why they're talking to Odell Beckham Jr. and brought in Calvin Austin and drafted Malachi Fields. Meanwhile, the Steelers put on the UFA tender to Aaron Rodgers, and they did this so that if he happens to sign with another team, which I don't think anybody's expecting right now, the Steelers would get back a compensatory draft pick. And if the deal is not done with Rodgers by the start of training camp, July 22nd, he would be precluded from signing with another team. So it's a rare step for a team to put a UFA tender on a player. They communicated it to Rodgers. They let him know it was coming. You never know how he's going to react to something like that. But then it doesn't change the fact that the Steelers are basically taking out insurance in the unlikely event that he does sign with another team.
And Steelers owner and president Art Rooney spoke yesterday. He addressed the team's decision to use that unrestricted free agent tender on Rodgers. Here's what he had to say.
The main thing that the tender gives us is potential for a comp pick, if Aaron would choose to go to another team. We don't expect that, but by the same token, you never know. We've been in contact with Aaron on a regular basis. He's been keeping us up to date on his plans, and even though I thought it probably would have been concluded by now, I think we will come to a conclusion here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, sure it will. I'm sure it'll be smooth and easy. Hawk, we just heard from Steelers ownership. What do you read into the team's approach here with Rodgers?
I think this is unexpected for them. This is an unexpected timeline from Aaron Rodgers. And so unexpected actions get unexpected reactions. And so they have to put this tag on them because it's the only way to protect themselves. Yes, from a comp pick, but also to try to make sure that, hey, if you're going to play, we want to give ourselves the best chance that it's going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they drafted as if Aaron Rodgers was going to be in the lineup. And all the actions they've taken this offseason is with the assumption Aaron Rodgers would be in the lineup. And so this makes a lot of sense from a security standpoint for the organization. And the hope is that, to everyone's point, Aaron Rodgers doesn't get offended by this action, which might feel like it's kind of backing him into a corner.
Yeah, I don't know why he would feel entitled to be offended. I don't want to project because there's no indication that he is, but completely understandable from the team standpoint. And I'll say this, Andrew, you said something that I think is worth noting. Everything they've done this offseason suggests not only that they expect Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback, but I think they're moves that will set him up for success. Trading for Michael Pittman Jr. in particular, when they made that trade, I thought that makes so much sense for Aaron Rodgers, because at this point in his career, we know he's really rarely pushing the ball downfield, maybe opportunistically to DK Metcalf, but primarily he wants to work quick game, and Pittman is very good at that. Over the last 3 years, he is top 10 in catches, yards, catch rate, on throws under 10 yards. In fact, on throws under 10 yards, he's caught over 70% of passes, which is 7th best of any receiver in football. To me, that sounds like a perfect pairing with Aaron Rodgers. The wide receiver they drafted out of Alabama, too, Jeremy Bernard. Again, perfect as a wide receiver 3, working from the slot. Quick game. It all makes sense if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. If he's not the quarterback, then I don't know. It's hard for me to explain this entire offseason.
Well, I think that they've prepared in the event that he's not the quarterback. They are counting, expecting, believing that he will return to Pittsburgh this season. But in the event that he doesn't, that he pulls a surprise, anything is always possible. This is a team that really believes in Will Howard, and they've brought him along. And Mike McCarthy has a reputation for working with young quarterbacks. They went ahead and drafted Drew Aller, who, if we were talking about Drew Aller a year ago, he was being discussed as a potential first-round pick. That didn't happen for him. The year didn't work out the way he wanted. So they do have a couple of young quarterbacks there to go along with Mason Rudolph. They feel like they have the talent they need if Rodgers doesn't come back. But it certainly sounds like they're counting and believing that he will be back here in the next few weeks.
We will keep you updated on this situation as it continues to unfold, or if it